Notes on the Minor Prophets, Zechariah, Chapter 2. By H. A. Ironside. Jerusalem's Restoration. This chapter contains but one vision, that of the man with a measuring line in his hand. Upon beholding him, Zechariah asked, "Whither goest thou?" The man replied, "To measure Jerusalem, to see what is the breadth thereof, and what is the length thereof." Upon this, the interpreting angel left the prophet's side, and advanced to meet another angel who was coming toward him. The latter cried, "Run, speak to this young man, saying, Jerusalem shall be inhabited as towns without walls for the multitude of men and cattle therein, for I, saith the Lord, will be unto her a wall of fire round about, and will be the glory in the midst of her." See Zephaniah 3:5, 14-20. The young man is Zechariah himself, who is to be informed of Jehovah's purposes as to Jerusalem in order that he may write it for future generations. The city that he knew was mean and paltry indeed in comparison with the Jerusalem that was yet to be. In the day of its glory and splendor there would be no need of a wall of masonry. The Lord himself would be her wall of fire, protecting from every assailant, and dwelling in her midst in the glory of the Shekinah. Verses 6-9 form the summons to the remnant to return to their land, in the day when all that God has promised is about to be fulfilled. Morally, they will still be dwelling with the daughter of Babylon, for Gentile dominion was established in Nebuchadnezzar, and the powers that have succeeded him are all of his spirit and character. For over 2 millenniums they have been the persecutors and haters of the Jew, and though in our day the position of the Hebrew is much more tolerable than ever before since their dispersion, there are still angry mutterings of anti-Semitism in many parts of Europe, which are destined to start a conflagration of unequaled fierceness in the time of Jacob's trouble which follows the translation of the Church to heaven. But when apparently friendless and helpless, the Lord will send his angel to gather together his elect from the 4 winds of heaven, and to re-establish them in peace in their long-promised inheritance, the land of their fathers. The exact time when this is to take place is given in verse 8, "After the glory hath he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you, for he that toucheth you, toucheth the apple of his eye." The expression, "after the glory," refers to the period immediately following the revelation, or apocalyptic appearing of Christ from heaven, when he descends in power and great glory to take the kingdom and assert his rights, as in the 2d Psalm. "Then the world shall know that Israel are the people of his choice, and the sheep of his pasture." As in Esther's time, the Jews will have light and joy, gladness and a good day, while their enemies will be humbled in the dust before them, and made to know that in oppressing the seed of Jacob they have been fighting against the living God. Verses 10-13 form a fitting close to such a prophecy. The daughter of Zion, who has hung her harp on the willow for so long, as she wept by the rivers of Babylon, is called upon to sing and rejoice, for her glorious Lord will himself dwell in her midst, and they shall all know him, from the least to the greatest. Then shall many nations be joined to Jehovah and become his people, being brought into the same blessed knowledge vouchsafed to Israel. This is far different from the call of the Gentiles in the present dispensation. Now God is taking out from among the nations a people for his name, and uniting Jew and Gentile into one body. Then Israel will be supreme in the earth, and all the nations shall find their blessing through her, when "the Lord shall inherit Judah his portion in the Holy Land, and shall choose Jerusalem again." Verse 12. So shall the years of her mourning be ended, and Israel's long warfare be accomplished. In that day the portion of the church will be in the heavenly glory, while the earthly people will find their blessing in the land promised to Abraham, Isaac and Jacob as an inalienable inheritance, from which their seed shall never be expelled. The last verse expresses the attitude of all the world in the day when the Lord shall do this: "Be silent, O all flesh, before the Lord, for he is raised up out of his holy habitation." Sweet it is to know that the rising tide of evil will soon be checked, sin and rebellion shall in every shape be eliminated from the earth, all the spared of the nations will own the benignant yet righteous sway of the now rejected Savior, and Jehovah of hosts be everywhere worshipped and obeyed.